Hello friends, and today is Wednesday, my Wednesday video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about mental illness. I talked a little bit in my history video about my struggles with mental illness and how it's affected my work and being able to work and not being able to work. I suffer from bipolar 1 disorder, which is an extreme manic and depressive. I have extreme manic symptoms, which is high energy, high happiness, and then very extreme lows, which is very extreme depression and things like that. I also have severe social anxiety. I have generalized anxiety disorder. I have PTSD from things that happened to me as a teenager and young adult, and a combination of those is the main reasons why I can't work. Bipolar 1 disorder is my main diagnosis. I get times when I don't sleep for days on days on end. Recently it hasn't been so bad since I've been prepping for surgery, but I have been in manic episodes because I am like flying high, really happy that I'm having the surgery and I'm doing well, but my husband and son keep tabs on me. Plus I do speak to my psychiatrist once every 2 weeks, and she kind of keeps an eye on me and things like that. I'm doing much better with the bipolar disorder, but it still messes with my cognition. And it's not just the bipolar that messes with the cognition. It's all the different things combined: the panic disorder, the anxiety disorder, everything. It really messes with my abilities to think properly and to be able to comprehend things the way that most people do, or the way that I used to. I have an associate's degree in accounting. I have an associate's degree in management, and I am one semester away from having a bachelor's degree in psychology. When I was working as a bookkeeper, I really decided I wanted to look into some other fields, and I started studying online. I was doing classes online with Walden University, learning psychology, and I got up into the last semester, and that last semester it is when my bipolar really started, or actually all of the mental illnesses really started to come together, and I couldn't do work anymore. I could no longer write reports. I could no longer do anything. I couldn't do payroll. Simple payroll taxes to me was always simple. I know to a lot of people it's not so simple, but to me it was always very simple, and I just couldn't do payroll reports anymore. I couldn't do any kind of reports. And then I was in my last semester of psychology, and it was the specialized field, the specialized classes, but I still couldn't do them because I couldn't finish my thesis. I couldn't finish anything because my brain, I think I've said before, to me, my brain stopped working. I stopped being able to comprehend basic things to me. I stopped being able to really function the way that most people function, the way that I had functioned for so long. I couldn't do it anymore. I stopped functioning, and just got so depressed because I had to quit school. I was so close to having that degree, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was so frustrating to me that I had gone so far, especially getting this new degree. Finally getting a bachelor's degree after so many years. I was in my late 30s, and I couldn't do it anymore, and it was so frustrating. Then having to jump through hoops to be able to get Social Security, because you really do have to jump through hoops to get Social Security. It's really horrible the way that disabilities are treated from the government. The amount of things that you have to do to prove disability, especially mental disabilities. And it's so hard for me because I can't comprehend a lot of things anymore. Things that used to come second nature to me, it's hard for me to understand anymore. And it's frustrating. I had a very high IQ for most of my life, and now I don't, because that cognition is gone, and that brain function is really just gone. And I enjoy being a housewife now. I do. I enjoy being a mother and a housewife and taking care of my house. But I have binders and notepads for everything in the house, cooking and cleaning. I have alarms and schedules on my phone to remind me of things that I need to do, and things that should come easy to me. Things that should come natural just don't anymore, and it's really hard for me. It's really frustrating. I don't know how to fix it. I've had every test on my brain, on my mind, and everything done, and all they could find was the mental illness has really affected me that much. It has really just changed the way that my brain works, the way that my brain functions. And I cope. I do cope with things, and I'm able to function on a daily basis. But as far as working and going to work, I can't do that anymore. I can't function at a regular job. I can't even function at like fast food or a grocery store or things like that. I can't function doing that anymore. And it's hard to me. I was always taught to work hard, and I can't anymore. And my brain just won't function that way anymore. And I try to make other people understand that just because you can't see an illness or you can't see a disability doesn't mean it's not there. And I just don't know anymore how to function on things. When John and I got married, we're both on disability, and he is on supplemental income because he didn't qualify. He hadn't worked enough tax-paying jobs to qualify for SSA disability. He has disability, but because he didn't work enough at regular jobs, he doesn't qualify for getting disability, so he gets supplemental disability. And I get regular disability. I worked for a long time, and when we got married, Social Security told us that, well, you can only make $1,100 a month. We were making our separate checks before that was more than that. And when we got married, Social Security said, oh no, a married couple only needs $1,175 a month. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me, because minimum wage, $7.25 an hour, 40 hours a week for one person is $1,160 a month. So essentially, Social Security is telling a married couple they're only allowed to make what one person makes on minimum wage, and that's before taxes are taken out. But it's still that's not a lot of money for a married couple to function on. And I just don't understand how people can do it. I see now why people who get disability or who get SSI, why they don't get married, why they live together but not as married couples, because you can't function on that, especially in cities. We're outside of New Orleans, and if my mother-in-law didn't live with us, we would not be able to afford our house. You know, we're looking right now to buy a house that has a lower mortgage payment than what we pay here, because we do rent this house. But I fail to understand how people can survive on what we have, what the government tells us we should be comfortable at. I don't understand it. I really don't. And I mean, maybe I would understand better if my disability wasn't so bad, But I get frustrated, and I don't understand why the government, I know that there are so many people that don't believe in social programs, but how do people who can't function properly, how do they contribute to making a living without social programs? If it wasn't for disability, Social Security and disability, I don't know what I would do. I really don't. I wish that I could work. I want to work, but I can't. It's one of the reasons I started doing YouTube, because I want to be able to contribute something. And my stories with my disability, with my weight loss, those to me I feel are somewhat contributing. You know, if someone else can see these videos and see my weight loss or my mental illness struggles, maybe it can help them. Maybe they can just realize they're not alone in the world, because a lot of times people with mental illness are made to feel like they're alone, like the world is against them. And I felt that for much of my life, not realizing how bad my disability was. But I felt like that most of my life, and I always basically was told there's something wrong with me, and there was. There's something mentally wrong, and mental illness does run in my family. My grandmother had bipolar disorder. There's depression in my family. There's a lot of mental illness on both sides of my family, but it's hard for a lot of people to come to terms with and to understand when you can't see a disability, to understand how it's real and how it affects somebody. And my depression gets bad sometimes because I can't function the way that I want to, the way that every other person in the world functions. I can't do it. And it's not like I didn't try. I tried for many years, and it just gradually made things worse. The more I tried to function as a normal everyday person, whatever that definition is, but as a contributing member of society, the more I did that, the worse my mental health became. The worse my depression got, the worse my mind just deteriorated, until I got to a point where I can't work anymore. My brain doesn't function the way that it should anymore, and I just have to deal with that. I have notes, and I have saved lists and everything just to help me do YouTube that I'm doing, and to do things in the house. I have lists, and I have reminders, and I have a huge binder of recipes, everyday recipes that are easy for most people to do. I have binders for, so that I can remember to do them, or remember how to do them. When I start on my other channel, on my personal channel, I'm going to start doing, when I get back into cooking, I'm going to start videoing some of my recipes, and you'll see my recipe book that's there with me that helps me remember how to do things. Even something as simple as frying chicken or cooking a steak in a pan. It can be daunting to me because I can't remember how to do a lot of those things. So I'm working on it. I'm working through it. I'm working with my therapist. I have been doing that for the past 10 years, but it doesn't get any easier. That's something that I've learned with mental illness. The coping gets easier, but the actual struggle really doesn't. And the older I get, the worse it gets. It doesn't get better. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with, that I'm probably never going to be what I used to be, the person that I used to be, or have the same kind of cognition or the brain functions that I used to have. I've gotten used to that, and I know that I won't be that person again, but I'm working towards helping the deterioration not get as far as it did. You know, I'm not ignoring it anymore. I used to just say I'm power through it. I'm just gonna ignore it and it'll get better. Well, it didn't. It got worse. It got a lot worse. And now I have to cope with it. I have to realize that it's just part of who I am now. So, but that's gonna be all for today. I would like you to like and subscribe. Please, you can click the like button, click the bell button next to the subscribe if you want to be notified every time that I upload. I'm going to be uploading probably on Sundays and Thursday. No, I'm sorry. This channel, I upload my personal video on Wednesdays. JR does his personal videos on Fridays. We do our videos together on Monday. And then on my personal channel, I do on Sunday and Thursday updates to my surgeries and my weight loss progress. So please hit subscribe and like and leave me a comment. Let me know how you like me, and even if you don't like me, leave me a comment, let me know. So you all have a nice day and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.